about language, dialects, and variety. And before we share to you about our discussion, let me introduce myself. My name is Fitri Dianiski, and there are my members.
My name is Vinia Kirahmatanti, and me Dena Istriana,
and my name is Vidya Aprima.
Enjoy for watching, guys! Hi, I will share you about our discussion about language, dialect, and variety. And the first, I will share you about language. Language is the system of communication set of sound and written. But in sociolinguistics, language is the method of human communication. And in language, I get 2 points. The first, language didn't come out instantly but by process. So, when I was born, I have the first language, and this is mother language for my mother and my father, and the second language I have for the society area in my house. And second, language getting bigger because society adopt one language to each language. So maybe in a country have a national language, but country have a many region, and in every region have a local language. The second is dialects. Dialects refers to a variety of language that can signal the speaker's regional or social backgrounds. And another meaning of the dialect is a language variety spoken by speech community that to characteristic by systemic features. For example, jadi di setiap daerah di Jawa itu kan punya masing punya daerah yang banyak. Seperti ada Tegal, Brebes, Kendal, Semarang. Jadi di setiap daerah itu mempunyai logat yang berbeda. Sedangkan di Tegal logatnya itu menurut saya medok banget itu. Tegal, Brebes itu sama aja. Sedangkan kalau di Pemalang setiap akhir kata pasti kebanyakan diberi tambahan rah. Contohnya, ayo dolan rah. Iya po, gitu. Sedangkan di Tegal itu kayak gimana? Kayak yang medoknya itu pun semana dulu, kayak gitu. And we will talking about variety. Variety is general form for any distinct form of language or linguistic expressions. And another meaning for variety is a specific set of linguistic items or human speech pattern which we can connect with some external factor, apparently geographical and or social group. In variety, language might change from region to regions. Country have many regions, and every region have local language, but have a national language. For example, di Indonesia itu bahasa nasionalnya Indonesia. Tetapi di setiap daerah itu memiliki bahasa lokal masing-masing. Jadi kita di daerah kita berbicara local language. Sedangkan ketika kita pergi keluar kota atau kemana yang masih mencakup Indonesia, kita berbicara dengan bahasa Indonesia. Karena semua orang itu pasti tahu bahasa Indonesia. Nah, semisal bahasa Tegal itu gini. Aku orang ngerti maksud Depon apa. But di Semarang itu bahasanya gini. Aku ora ngerti maksudmu apa. Jadi kalau di daerah timur itu bisa dibaca O. Apa menjadi opo. Kula menjadi kulo. Jadi keduanya itu memiliki satu arti yang sama. Kalau di dalam bahasa Indonesia itu memiliki arti aku tidak tahu maksudmu apa. What do you mean? Namun dalam Indonesia bahasa aku tidak mengerti maksudmu apa bisa menjadi berbagai bahasa, tapi memiliki arti yang sama dalam national language. And the next, language and dialects. Language has structures and characteristics. It can be spoken by many people. But dialects just spoken by a small group of society. Jadi kalau bahasa itu terstruktur, mempunyai struktur. Saya belum makan. Saya sebagai subjek, belum sebagai predikat, dan makan itu sebagai objek. Jadi terstruktur seperti grammar, ada strukturnya. Sedangkan dialects, logat, itu cuma digunakan dalam sebuah wilayah, grup, dan lingkungan sekitar kita. Tidak luas untuk ke mana-mana. Jadi itu hanya di lingkungan sosial kita.
Now I will explain about criteria of language. According to Bell, we have 7 criteria to discuss different kind of language, such as standardization, vitality, historicity, autonomy, reduction, mixture, and the last important criteria is the factor nouns. Okay, we will discuss one by one, and then I try to give you an example. So, the first criteria is standardization. Standardization refers to the process by which a language has been codified in some way. That process usually involves development of such things as grammars, spelling books, and dictionaries, and possibly literature. For example, in that language, have structure or not, have grammar or dictionaries or not. So this Japanese language can be classification as a language. Then in Japanese language have a grammar like SPOK. For example, nyong dolanan banyu ning kali. Jadi itu ada we have nyong as subject, dolanan is predicate or verb, and then banyu is object, and the last ning kali is keterangan. And then another example is in Japanese language have a dictionaries like gudel and belo. Do you know gudel and belo? Gudel means anake kebo and belo means anake jarang. For this explanation, we know that Japanese language is the part of standardization. The second criteria is vitality. Vitality refers to the existence of a living community of speakers. This criterion can be used to distinguish language that are alive from those that are dead. So for the example, Japanese language is feared that it will become extinct because many parents now who come from Java teach Indonesian as the main language of their children, and Japanese has lost many of its native speakers. The third is historicity. Refers to the fact that a particular group of people finds a sense of identity through using a particular language it belongs to them. This is the strongest tie of all, whether social, political, religious, or ethnic. So I will practice. I always use chromo language when talking to my friends. So I will always use that language as our language. And then autonomy. A language must be taught by its speakers to be different from other languages. Autonomy is independence of language. We can say it is a way to distinguish one language to other language. For example, in Indonesia, especially Japanese, have a varieties like ngoko alus, kromo inggil, kromo alus, and then they have atau mereka bisa berdiri sendiri as independent of language, but they don't have bahasa induknya atau pengantarnya, namely Indonesian language. The five is reduction. Refers to the fact that a particular variety may be regarded as a subvariety rather than as an independent entity. For example, nyong, ko, kulo, jenengan. This is the variety of language, but they can become an independent language, but sub-variety. Then we have a mixture. Mixture refers to feelings speakers have about the purity of the variety they speak. This criterion appears to be more important to speakers of some languages than of others. For example, when I speak Japanese and Indonesia, like, bisanya kamu kayak gitu sih? I should say in Indonesia, kenapa kamu kayak gitu sih? And then in Japanese, bisanya kok kayak gue sih? So, the last, we have de facto norms. Refers to the feelings that many speakers have that there are both good speakers and poor speakers, and that the good speakers represent the norms of proper usage. For example, when I used to speak Japanese, but my friend was bad at Japanese. I know she is bad in Japanese language because I use this language. The next presentation will be presented by my friend Vini Akila Ramadan.
Okay, thanks Dana. Now I will explain about types of dialect. But before I will explain about types dialect, I will repeat a little about dialects. Dialect is a variant of the language according to the speaker. Different from the varieties of language, these variations are different from one another but still show many similarities. So, that is not appropriate to be called a different language. Usually, dialects are measured based on geography or region, but there are other factors such as social factors. A dialect can be distinguished from vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. But if the difference is only based on pronunciation, so the correct term is an accent. For example, imbuhan dari kata, misalkan dari daerah Pemalang, ada rahnya. Contohnya, iya rah. Kalau misalkan di Tegal, li, iya li, gitu. Okay, thanks Dana. Now I will explain about types of dialect. But before I will explain about types dialect, I will repeat a little about dialects. Dialect is a variant of the language according to the speaker. Different from the varieties of language, these variations are different from one another but still show many similarities. So, that is not appropriate to be called a different language. Usually, dialects are measured based on geography or region, but there are other factors such as social factors. A dialect can be distinguished from vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. But if the difference is only based on pronunciation, so the correct term is an accent. For example, imbuhan dari kata, misalkan dari daerah Pemalang, ada rahnya. Contohnya, iya rah. Kalau misalkan di Tegal, li, iya li, gitu. Okay, now I will explain about types of dialects. Types of dialects are divided into two: regional dialects and social dialects. First, regional dialects is a variety of language that is spoken in a geographical area for many hundreds of years. It has differences in pronunciation, in the choices and form of the word and syntax. Dialects is one of the language variation that have strong tradition in the local area. Because it is limited by the area, people outside the area do not understand the dialect that is meant in that area. So, daerah lain tidak akan mengerti apa yang kita ucapkan karena itu dialek dari daerah kita sendiri. For example, dari vocabulary-nya di Tegal sendiri, bohong sebutannya adalah gorok. But di Cilacap, bohong itu sebutannya lombok. Jadi orang Tegal belum tentu tahu bahwa lombok itu artinya berbohong, dan sebaliknya orang Cilacap belum tentu tahu kalau gorok itu artinya berbohong. Dari grammar, misalkan contoh, koen senengnya goro, kan koen as a subject, senengnya as a predicate, and goro as a object. Kalau di Cilacap berarti koen senengnya lombok, koen as a subject, senengnya as a predicate, and lombok as a object. Next, second, social dialects. Social dialects is a variety of speech as associated with a particular social class or group within a society. Social groups refers to the groups that we have family, friends, or classmates. For example, when we talk with your parents, we can use kromo or kromo inggil. Contohnya, ibu sampun dahar dereng. But when we talk with friends, kita menggunakan ngoko. Konis mangan dulu. Like that. And then social class means a layer of a society that is characterized by a specific amount of wealth, prestige, and power. Defines an individual's or group's standard of living and life prospect. I think enough. Next presentation will be present by Akrima.
Thank you, Vini. And now I will talking about styles, registers, and beliefs. And the first is styles. Styles relates to the typical ways in which one or more people do a particular things. language behavior. Language behavior thus becomes alternative ways of expressing the same content. Style in the way speakers speak. The speakers also can make a choice whether informal and formal. It depends on circumstance and the age and social group of participants. Example, the first formal. If you speak in the school or in the seminar. Contoh untuk bahasa Jawanya, monggo Bapak Ibu, Bapak Ibu Intang Hormati. Nah seperti itu ketika pembicara bahasa Jawa pada yang lebih tua atau formal di seminar dan di sekolah. Yang kedua, less informal. Less informal if you talking with the new friend. Contohnya bahasa Jawa, asmaniku sinten asmani. Yang ketiga, informal. Informal if you talking with the old friend atau teman lama, teman akrab, teman sebaya. Contohnya, yuk jajan yuk neng, terus woi Cindy toko atau katon. Nah seperti itu ketika berbicara terhadap teman sebaya. Yang and the next, register refer to particular ways of using language in particular setting within that community. A register is a set of linguistics items were associated with this coded occupational and social group. And the example, if you talking with announcer atau penyiar radio. Announcer first is Indonesian language, and then Indonesian language when rating callers. After that, the callers use Japanese language. Nah, ketika penyiar radio awalnya menggunakan bahasa Indonesia, ketika si penghubung menggunakan bahasa Jawa, tidak lain lagi si penyiar radio harus menyesuaikan bahasa si penghubung yang menghubungi penyiar radio untuk merequest lagu atau berbagi cerita dan lain-lain. Announcer menyesuaikan bahasa si penghubung ke radionya. Jadi ketika ada yang menelpon, biasanya kan ada penelpon yang ingin menanyakan kabar, menyampaikan request lagu. Ketika menggunakan bahasa Jawa, nah si penyiar radionya pun menyesuaikan menggunakan bahasa Jawa juga. And the last, beliefs. Beliefs is systems of ideas on ideology. Some people believe that certain language is lack of grammar. We can speak English without accent. Thank you very much for your watching.